Planned Brotherhood is not affiliated or associated with Planned Parenthood. No! Planned Parenthood is a registered trademark of Planned Parenthood Federation of America, Incorporated.
Happy Thanksgiving. Welcome to Planned Brotherhood. PJ's wife joins us again. It's been, what, episode 32, I think was the last she was on?
Yes.
She didn't talk much.
No.
What are you doing? What character is this?
Nothing.
Everybody, please enjoy.
Gobble, gobble.
And you hold the mic at an angle like this, stay pretty close to it.
Only if you're going to talk, though. We don't need to hear you breathing the whole time.
Okay.
Gobble, gobble.
We can hear your
Gobble,
mustache
gobble.
and the breathing. It's going to be mustache jokes. I'm just kidding, Elvina. I was just kidding.
Started it right off the bat.
And then he said Sophie had a mustache too.
Mustache has just been my joke for today.
Yeah, Sophie doesn't really have a mustache. She can't.
I'm jealous because I
can't
can't
be
grow
open
one,
to
so I
that.
projected onto all the women around me.
Did I already say that that's why I'm glad I never had a son, is because at 14 he would have a better mustache than me
That would be pretty depressing.
and broader shoulders.
I heard Mariah Carey actually does
Half
have
Mexican
a
kid.
mustache in Precious, that movie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw a clip with her in it.
She looked pretty good.
It's not like an Aunt Beep mustache.
Uncle Tracy found pictures of her naked one time.
Yeah, I know. And we said it in an episode and cut it out of an episode. You need to get on the microphone.
She doesn't want to do it.
You said only peep in if I have something to say. I don't have anything to say.
Hey, guys. Peep, peep.
You have nothing to say about Mariah Carey's possible mustache?
No.
It's because I started it with the dumb mustache joke. I was obviously just kidding.
It's
Whatever.
because Investigation Discovery Channel's on. Hey, how's our dinner coming?
We'll be eating in like 3 hours.
I think you're confused about how long it takes to cook a turkey.
Yeah,
'cause-
3 hours doesn't seem right. Have you looked this up?
Yeah, usually it takes people like 12 hours to cook a turkey.
Oh, really? Do we have a 30-pound turkey in the oven?
I'm
no.
just saying that.
How big is the turkey?
12 pounds.
Yeah, it looks pretty humongous. I'm pretty excited about it.
Thanks. And we have a Reynolds oven bag thing, which cuts baking time by an hour or so,
Is
depending
that
on
going to
turkey
take
size.
away from the flavor of the turkey? The
Oh,
Reynolds
no, it
bag?
is not.
Is it going to ruin it at all?
No, it's going to add.
And stuffing, is it a box stuffing, or are you doing this whole thing from scratch, right?
Nick, don't embarrass me.
I was just asking if you plucked the feathers on the turkey or not.
It's going to be stovetop stuffing, but it's pretty good.
This is only the second year I'm ever eating turkey. Save all the dark meat for me.
We'll move on to
fellas.
turkey in a second, but how do you feel about stuffing?
It looks really gross.
You've never tried it, though?
No.
It's delicious,
I think
though.
it's good, but I only eat it like the one time a year, literally.
Yeah.
But I'm always excited to eat it. Even the stovetop stuff, I really enjoy that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why people don't buy it all year round.
I
At
think-
Walmart yesterday, it was $1.50 for one that you had to ask for help out with, basically.
It's
It was so humongous.
It's also really gross watching people eat stuffing, like when they just have like a big plate of stuffing and they're eating it.
Well, isn't the idea of stuffing like
Stuffing? Stuffing Tanner? That's what, oh man, we should name our turkey every year, and this year it's Stuffing Tanner. Small breasts.
it's not a pet. You're not going to remember it after tonight.
What was it last year?
The name, we're only starting this year, but last year we didn't make a turkey.
What'd you guys do last year?
You were there. We went to Aunt Lori's house.
Oh, yeah. So we still ate turkey.
Uncle
Yeah.
Barry was there.
yeah.
Crying on the couch.
Yeah.
Whoa, before you get all mean.
Literally crying on the couch, though.
Yeah, I wasn't being mean. It's
Well,
factual.
eventually.
Factual.
Eventually. We knew he'd got invited like the day before, and he didn't want to go, presumably because of his standing as a Jehovah's Witness.
Yep. Jehovah's Witnesses never do Thanksgiving. They just buy a turkey because it's so cheap and then make it like the day before or after.
Yeah.
It's still fucking Thanksgiving. Nobody cares why you're eating turkey.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is that he would always go, the same aunt, when she was Jehovah's Witness, would have like day after Thanksgiving dinner because that's when everything's so cheap anyway. And we'd all go to that with clear consciences. It's
So why didn't we do
stupid.
day after Halloween then? Or Christmas?
Yeah, we should. Well, we did. I mean, with Mom, we always went to Fred Meyer and bought up all the really cheap candy the day after Halloween.
That's true.
Ate that like an asshole.
You're talking about Mom.
Yeah. But what I was getting is when Barry went to Lori's house last year for Thanksgiving, like something happened. Like he really had nowhere else to go that day. He had just moved back to town and was really depressed. But we were like, oh, he did come for Thanksgiving.
Because he was pretty much fresh off of his wife, right? Like,
right.
He had just moved back from New York after 10 years and all that shit.
Yeah, just rolled off of her.
I can see what kind of night it's going to be.
So he's there and he sat and he ate with us for a while.
No,
but
he left. He didn't eat with us because
Oh, that's-
remember
I think
Lori.
he sat there for a minute, didn't he?
No, he just.
He may have
grabbed
sat around the
plate
table before when it was just like
Yeah.
snack food stuff out there.
Yeah.
because then Lori asked what we were thankful for, and we were all supposed to go around and say we're thankful
Wait,
for. And
didn't
he
you say that
left.
as a joke?
Yeah, I remember. I
can't imagine her doing that and meaning it.
Yeah.
No, it was halfway joking and halfway meaning, and then
She
we
was
were all
dressed as a
thankful.
pilgrim, though.
I certainly didn't say anything. But then I was it his like was Barry's getting up from the table like his way of not celebrating Thanksgiving?
Yes, because I remember we all snickered and looked, gave each other little.
And what did
eyes.
he do? Just like take walks by himself, but in the front yard to where everybody could
Yes,
see.
yeah.
Well,
Oh my
first,
God, yeah.
First he went in the living room and he was playing the Wii.
Oh, that's right.
But he still ate food. I think he brought his food, which is like
He probably brought food home with him
Yeah, 'cause
and
Lori
ate it on the
made
drive.
that's effed up though. You go to someone's house and you're like, oh, I don't celebrate this, and I think he even made a couple jokes about not celebrating.
Yeah,
it.
he did.
And then take
And
your
that-
food into the other room.
That ended up being the same night, and I know we talked about this before, but when we were out in the hot tub with our cousins,
Yeah.
which isn't as seedy as it sounds.
Was that the same night?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And then, he wouldn't hand me my cigarettes because they were cigarettes, and it was a filthy habit, and I'm going to die in Armageddon.
Right, but I handed our underage cousin a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was really upset because there were definitely times where all of a sudden, there's especially in that house. There's a big house, like you can pick a room and go cry. You know what I mean?
But he's never been that way. He's always showy about
Well,
his
he
emotions.
picks the living room, the family room,
Sure. And he,
in the middle of it.
And so he just broke down. And who went up to him
I'm
first?
so paranoid that he listens.
Lori.
Well, he needs to hear this. It's a little weird. Remember the time? I think we never actually witnessed this ourselves. This could have been friend Patrick. I shouldn't say his name in case Barry does listen, because apparently they're still friends, right?
Yeah, because he's still Jehovah's
In
Witness.
any case, Patrick told me this awesome story once about Barry was living with Grandma, like well into his 20s, maybe his 30s, and he told a story about how Barry came home from work one day and he was pissed off anyway, and then he was making like gross Franco-American cans, not SpaghettiOs, spaghetti,
Right.
like the full-out spaghetti meal in the can, and it was like. It was made, and he put the whole thing in a bowl, and then the bowl somehow like flips and hits the ground like as soon as he sits down because he's an idiot apparently, and he started crying.
Things happen.
It made him cry. The spaghetti made
You
him
know
cry.
what? In Barry's
Don't cry over spilled spaghetti, guys. We've heard it our whole lives.
In Barry's defense, when Alvina and I went on our honeymoon, we were at some mall somewhere, and I married someone that like had credit, and that was so amazing me. So I was buying any little thing, and what was it? It was some sort of weird remote control.
It was a
car.
remote control car.
I wanted it so bad.
Ridiculous.
And like it would flip over and stuff like that, but it wasn't that cool. Like if you hit into a wall, it would just turn.
You said
around.
this was on your honeymoon?
Yeah,
Okay, so you were what, 20?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and also we got married like a week after we started dating. So
Right.
We did not.
we don't know each other that well.
That might be a slight exaggeration. What was it for real?
Like 8 months or
After
a year.
dating like
Yeah.
9 months.
It seems longer than that.
But
It seems a lot longer in general.
so I put the remote control car on top of whatever car we were driving, and I drove it off of there, and it like hit and it broke,
Immediately?
and I almost cried.
Did you see him almost cry?
I was
I was probably busy laughing.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh wow, you're really
And
upset
was it
about this."
expensive, or you just...
No,
It
I
was
think
like
it was,
$40.
yeah.
I knew it was expensive enough.
But it
where-
wasn't about the money that almost made you cry?
No.
It was enough to where I wasn't going to turn around and go buy another one. So I was really upset by that, you know.
Especially when I said, PJ, don't put it on top of the car. He put it on top of the car like a child, thinking it's not going to break when it hits the floor. And
if you
So I-
really
so I-
if you parked in
upset.
some carpet or something, I could see it. Like, maybe it has a chance.
So I could see making a can of canned spaghetti and knocking over him, just being like, "I am so stupid."
Yeah, but to cry in front of your nephews that are hanging out
Do
for
you
the
remember
weekend,
once when we went to visit?
and your own mom,
Wait, I have a question. What's canned spaghetti?
I thought I explained it pretty
It's like
well
a can of
earlier.
SpaghettiOs, but it's like
But
spaghetti.
it's actual spaghetti.
with sauce mixed in
That
it and
sounds
everything.
disgusting.
It is disgusting.
Why don't
I've-
you just
I've
make
never had
spaghetti?
it.
It's like $1 for the
And I love me some
noodles and $1 for
SpaghettiOs.
the sauce.
I agree, because that's so much better.
What about
I
canned
can do that.
ravioli?
I eat that
That's gross,
sometimes.
too.
I've never been brave enough to try that.
I'm brave enough.
Okay, sorry, I just didn't know they sold canned spaghetti.
I prefer that we talk about Franco-American for a while, actually.
I like that Alvina listens and then yells at us for interrupting each other all the time.
You guys do. You guys are unbelievable.
I know it's already happened a lot today. I'm keeping track now that you're here.
But the thing that is funny is that you guys hate interrupters. Well, most of all, PJ really hates when people interrupt. Don't interrupt me.
In everyday life, I really do hate interrupters.
But you guys are so bad at interrupting each other.
I think I'm like that outside of the show too. Like sure, I'm annoyed by it when I see it in other people, but I know I do it.
Yeah.
I just think that it's worth it when I do it.
I probably do too if I let myself think about it.
You're just so much better that your story is worth being able to be.
Yeah, most of the people I talk to are idiots. I'm just saying. Like, let me have the floor again. It's worth it. Trust me. And then they're in for the ride.
The memory I have is, and tell me if you remember this. Remember when Grandma lived in that one mobile home that Darren eventually lived in?
Yeah.
Well, we were there, and Barry lived there too with her at the time, and they had like this old, like really old computer, like green screen, everything like that. You know, like this was probably in '92 or something like that, because we were still obsessed with Barry. And you could make, there was some sort of music program on there where like it was really long and painstaking to do, but you could put music notes on there and compose something.
I remember this story.
And he was composing the Jurassic Park theme. So this must have actually been like
Which he
90
was obsessed with. Because
this
she had a
wa-
piano in that tiny
Right.
little place too at the time.
But he was doing this on a computer in a
Right.
music program. So it must have been 93 or 94 as Jurassic Park.
So imagine that computer anyway.
Yeah. And the file gets lost, and and now we're there visiting, so it's like me, you, Mom and Dad, baby Melissa, and then probably like a Russ, Sherry, Amy, and April too. All jammed into this little mobile home. Everyone's sitting around kind of doing, having a group conversation. Amy and April probably glued to the TV because that's what
They didn't
did.
have a TV, yeah.
Yeah. You and me.
That's all they did growing up. They never hung out with us. When
Yeah.
any family functions were like, oh, cousins, like fags.
Yeah.
And nobody would want to hang out with us because, Amy and April specifically, because Milo and Otis was on the TV and they weren't going to miss that for the world.
And then you and I were...
Even when we would play Hangman, it would always be
Look at
TV
this, look at this
related.
interrupting. It's crazy. I had a funny joke.
Sorry, buddy.
I had a funny joke. I was going to say Amy and April addicted to the TV. Me and you were sitting on Barry's cock watching him play on the computer.
It's not so much funny as it is vulgar and shocking.
And he loses the file, and he starts, like, freaking out.
Yeah, I remember.
Like, he's
kind
upset.
of.
Like, he's slamming the mouse up and down and stuff like that. And he's what? If I'm 11, that makes him, like, 21 at the time. Maybe 22, something like that. And
Old enough.
And eventually... Grandma like yelled at him about it, like how a mother can't yell at 21-year-olds anymore. Just like, Barry, that's enough. You need to stop it. And that was very
Yeah, you hardly ever saw Grandma.
very eye-opening for me.
And
I remember Grandma yelled at me
awkward.
once. Yeah, it was real awkward. And the thing is, like, we're there. And
Well,
we're
we
his
got to go back to
nephews.
Grandma yelling at you too, by the way.
Yeah, we can. We're his
Because I don't think I've
nephews.
ever heard her yell.
But he's got his brothers there too, with like their kids, and it's almost like you can look at him and go, "Oh my God, Mom's yelling at me!" Like that's crazy.
And how did he react? Did he yell back?
Well, I think he was still very upset about having lost the music. I think there were some tears being shed at this point already, and they just continued for a while.
Did he lose the files because he
And
spilled
all-
spaghetti on the computer?
All we want to do when we're there is be around him. So when he's like throwing a fit and like being upset and everyone's looking at him,
Somehow, I was really accepting of it at
Then
the time because I wanted
Right.
to worship him so badly.
but it's a huge bummer that like now we're not hanging out with him anymore because he's going to go out to his shed room and write a short story. The time Grandma got mad at me, I just remember one time when she like
Were you living with her? Was that one of those times?
No. It was like daycare days when it was still her daycare before it was Mom's.
Oh yeah, she yelled at me in daycare. A couple times.
But I remember her like yelling at me, like just saying "shut up" once. Like she was like "shut up," and then I remember once her making me stand in the corner.
Was it a 9/11 joke that you made?
It was something about I lied to Josh Swigert. I said Grandma said something that she didn't. Josh Swigert, shout out. When I was living with Grandma, I started dating Alvina, and we used to go into my room and fuck around all the time. And
PJ.
What do you mean?
I'm pretty
Not
sure.
fuck though. You guys didn't fuck.
No, but I'm
Please
pretty
don't say
sure.
that.
You guys
Grandma-
didn't have sex before marriage, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that Grandma heard her getting, all hot and bothered.
Of course,
And then,
yeah.
because it was like the
How
next
could she
day.
contain herself?
The next day, Grandma asked me to not have Alvina in my room alone anymore.
Uh-oh.
I was married like 2 days.
Are you sure
later.
she heard her? Maybe she was just weird about it the second she showed up.
I'm pretty sure she heard her because the room that me and Alvina were in is now Grandma and her husband's room.
Gross.
And Grandma's room is what's now Barry's room, and Barry says he can hear like every conversation they're having.
That's pretty
But
gross.
your grandma can't hear anything unless
She is,
the
That's
hearing
true.
aids are
she
in.
is pretty deaf.
Yeah, she is deaf. And I jerked off in every room in that house at one time.
Gross.
Alvina,
I lived there.
Remember
And?
when we butt fucked in the bathroom?
So that's what you mean by not sex.
While
huh?
Grandma was taking a shower, we're like, let's test how deaf she is. Get up on the toilet.
You're disgusting.
I used to do that, man. Grandma's taking a bath, and I go, Grandma, I gotta go. I'm hungover, and just slide the curtain shut and take a poop. First of all, I'm joking. Secondly,
That was pretty specific if you're joking.
don't get so disgusted by me when you tell me stories of when you're like 16 and sitting on your mom's lap while she's going to the bathroom.
That's different.
That is not different.
While she's going to the bathroom?
Yeah, just sit
She
there.
wasn't actually going to the bathroom. Like, she wasn't peeing or pooping while I was
But
sitting
her
on
pants
lap.
were down?
Yeah.
And you were sitting on her lap. And you were how old?
Like daily.
No, not daily. Well, it was just... we just used to always go into the bathroom and talk. Like, that's the only place, like, my mom would be by herself. So if you wanted to talk to her about something serious, like, she would
God.
read the Bible and stuff in there. So she would be in there
I
for a really
see.
long time.
You know what I read in there? Kerouac. Educate yourself, Esperanza. Put away the fairy tales.
You know what I've noticed, because I stay here when I do, is that you guys are pretty... It seems like you guys are pretty open with you guys going in and out of the bathroom while you guys are doing whatever.
Yeah. That is.
I don't know that I'll ever be at that comfort level with anybody.
It's something that I don't like, but
Yeah, I mean, you can't even watch people brush their teeth. How can you handle that?
Yeah, I can't watch Alvina brush her teeth. But like, if I've really got to poop, like to where it's gonna be like loud and splashy, like I will ask.
Why has
Alvina-
it come to this?
I'll ask Alvina to leave the bathroom. It takes her a while, but she'll eventually leave.
I just don't really care. But I know, like, some people don't like it. I don't
I don't mind when I
don't
see you
know.
guys doing it. Like, it's not like it bothers me. I just can't see myself ever being
You're
that
not
person.
inside seeing how gross it really is.
But I can imagine. I know what goes on.
I mean, if we ever have a place that has like 2 bathrooms, then I'm sure all that'll stop.
No.
If we chat around bathroom, that'd
I'll
be
still
so
want to
nice.
be in there with you because I'll miss you.
Even the bathroom is too much time away.
Yeah.
Am I exaggerating when I remember that, like, when Dad would go into the bathroom to take a shit, it would stink so bad.
Yeah.
But he would seriously, he would
He
make
had a
it-
bad diet back then.
But he would regularly be in there for more than 2 hours. Would you say?
Yeah, it
or
was
is that
just a-
exaggerating?
No, you're right. I think it was just an escape route for him.
But
I don't think he was actually shitting that whole time.
I think so, because when he left, like it
Never
still
happened.
really stink. And the thing is, he wasn't. I don't remember there ever being books in there.
Maybe he was having an affair. He snuck out the bathroom window every time and put a farting duck in his place.
Do you remember any books ever being in there?
Yeah, he was a big reader.
I don't remember
he
books being
reads
in
shit.
the bathroom.
No, I think he would bring him in with him. Like, he would read the book and ignore Mom while watching TV, also ignoring us, like, pretty much every night.
I remember.
Yeah, he had the book a lot.
I remember Dad owning books, but I don't remember him being a reader. Really,
I do.
I don't.
You're wrong. And now more than ever,
was
just
TV.
because,
Well, yeah, he's got what, half an hour a day of TV time, or
yeah,
in his toy room.
that's that's one thing. And yeah, also, like, he's looking for ways to ignore his wife. Mm-hmm. And reading is a good. I mean, it's always something ridiculous with the UFO on the front, and
yeah. But he reads a lot of Stephen King and stuff. I think he has one of my Stephen King books right now, actually.
I told him about Stephen King's new book, Under the Dome. He hadn't heard anything about it.
Oh, really?
So I felt like I was like telling him about God for the first time.
Yeah.
Not that I've read it,
I should
except for the
talk to
first
him about
62
it.
pages.
It was a
We
really
promised
good
we
book.
weren't going to do this.
What?
Talk about
a book
Stephen
review?
King.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Alvina's asleep.
Oh, wait.
Good night, Alvina. You guys want to talk about something adorable your daughter did?
No.
Seems like as long as we've got
Nothing
Alvina on the
adorable
show.
today.
No, she was a butthead today, but
You
yesterday
big
she
fan.
was great.
Happy Turkey Day. Gobble, gobble.
I'm going to
Just
tell you, I
woke
think
up
she's
too
spoiled a
early.
little bit.
What?
I think when Alvina's home, things are different. I'm not saying in a bad way. I still love her.
But you recognize that she's spoiled when Alvin
Well,
is there.
the nap alone, like how hard it was for her to go down for a nap, that didn't happen at all yesterday. Like she's like, okay, nap time, went right to sleep, and even when she woke up, she was in a good mood.
Yeah, that's right. That's what happens when you lay down the law a little around the house.
Oh, really?
Maybe
That
she doesn't
happens?
give Daddy as many hugs and kisses, but I still get plenty.
Or randomly just say, Mom,
Yeah, there's a lot
I
of
love
hugging and
you.
kissing going on around here. Trust me,
Yeah.
there's no lack of that.
For PJ.
You do seem a little needy for your daughter's attention sometimes.
Well, it's because she's bothered by him. She doesn't like to be tickled anymore. PJ tickles her nonstop, even though she says, no, stop.
Are you
And he
that big of a
just-
tickler?
I always crack her knuckles. She hates that. just like
Whatever.
that.
If you ever do, I'll punch you in your face.
But you do crack Alvina's knuckles. This is no joke, like all the time. I'll mostly see it when you guys are sitting in the car together.
Yeah.
Like you'll just lean over at a stoplight or whatever and fucking crack her knuckles. I don't really get that.
Just her
Only-
pinky and her thumb.
Those are the ones that
And it
are-
doesn't hurt you at all?
Not anymore. It's been happening for like 9 years
It's
straight.
because he's ruined your knuckles.
I know.
So weird. I used to crack like all of her fucking knuckles.
You don't crack your
and
own
her
knuckles, though,
toes,
do you?
No, I don't.
And her back constantly.
Do you crack your own knuckles?
I was abused.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I only see you do it to other people.
Oh, yeah. No.
And what's the thing you used to do? Was it Melissa that you used to pick up and like fucking fuck up her back every time?
Crack her
Yes.
back. Yeah. It's some weird compulsion I have. Maybe that's why she has such bad posture. Maybe I ruined her. That's
I
gonna
don't
be,
think so.
I don't think you're the first to blame for anything that's wrong with her.
I swear to God that when Sophie was first born, I would think back to that and I'd be like, oh my God, I have to try to not crack her back and her knuckles and stuff. But I think it's easy.
Yeah, this is coming. Remember when you used to love grabbing stray cats and trying to call them your own all the time?
Ew, gross.
I'm going somewhere with this.
I wouldn't say it was all the time.
Like Bob Mapplethorpe?
yeah.
Yeah,
That was a great cat.
He was a stray, and it's not like anybody ever thought to check him out and see if he was cool to be hanging out with us and the daycare kids all day. But by then you were pretty much a cat fag, I guess, because prior to that, like, remember living at the old house on Orchard Street? So we had to have been real young. We had a cat of some kind, and we would play football using the cat as the football, as terrible as
I
that
mean,
sounds.
you always say
Do you remember that?
You always say we used to do things like we did these things on a regular basis. Like it happened.
We fucked with that cat until it ran away or
I
died.
took in like 2
At
straight
our
cats,
hands.
and maybe one time we played cat football. Because really, like obviously, when we throw it, we're getting scratched to shit. I'm sure none of us ever caught it. We couldn't catch anything.
Don't you hate cats now? Aren't cats the most annoying, like,
Cats
useless
are
pet?
disgusting. Yeah, they
I
are.
hate
Yeah,
stray
it just
cats.
fucks up your clothes and your allergies in some cases. It's totally useless. I hate it. But it's the only reason I have so many house sitting gigs. By so many, I mean that one. But if she didn't have a cat to feed, I wouldn't have keys to that place.
Most people's cats who they love are like ridiculous, like long haired. They're always assholes, like they're not loving at all.
Yeah, and I have a cat at my. I mean, I don't have a cat, but my roommate has a cat where I live, and that cat's okay. And it was a stray, but a stray that was passed on from a friend that said it was cool or something like that. Apparently, gotten him checked out, and so he came to live with us, and he was a fucking freak for like 8 months, like busting into my bedroom and like trying to sleep on my head, which some people fucking
Ew.
love. Cat fags. I'm gonna go ahead and call them out. Episodes 10, 11, and 64. I'm talking about Jeff here, twitter.com/Fedge. That guy is a fucking cat fag like you wouldn't believe. He's got 2 cats, Buddy and Buddy. I don't remember the other one's name. Have you ever, oh yeah, you were there. That's where we recorded the 10 and 11.
I never saw him be real gay with his cat.
Oh, he's nuts about it, man. He'll tell me about cats that he saw on the street the day before and how unloved they looked. Seriously.
But does he play games with this cat like Nick K and Pat K?
I'm sure that he does. He doesn't do it in front of me, but he's gay enough. Like, I'll be sitting there and we'll be talking about something or even watching TV, and then he'll be like, Buddy's hanging out there in the corner doing nothing except for trying to catch some shut-eye, and just like, Buddy, come here, Buddy. And then he like, he fucking roughhouses with him. He's like, oh, he likes it, man. He likes it. And I'm like, really? His fangs are out. I think he hates it.
See, that's how I kind of am with Sophie. I'm always just calling her over to me with nothing to really say to her. And then, like, I'll tickle her, and she goes, no! And I'm like, this is fun. Because she's still
He must
laughing.
seem like a monster to her.
She can't help but laugh, but...
No, it's a half cry, half laughing. And
it's so funny, though.
Laughing, and I don't want to disappoint my dad kind of way.
no, like, get off me. Like, she does not like it.
So, she likes me, right, guys, overall?
Not really. We had to talk about it. She really dislikes me.
She can't even talk. I don't believe that. I think she does like me. I think she likes me more and more every time I come and hang out.
Yeah, I think she...
Okay,
she's
guys.
with you, I
The stunned
guess. I don't
silence.
know.
Seems about the same as always.
Okay.
I agree.
Forget it. We're not going down that road, apparently. You guys really don't like to talk about your kid. I think that says something about the two of
I
you.
don't. It's the gayest stuff when people talk about their kids. I'm talking to you. You know who you are. I don't know.
I love talking about Sophie, but I just think people are annoyed by it.
Yeah, it's definitely not podcast worthy.
Okay, then. Oh, here's my dad's story. This will be podcast worthy. Or did I already tell it?
I don't know, man. You've been building it up for like 5 days, so if you already told it, I'm disappointed.
All right, here it is.
Gobble, gobble.
We had. Is this our Thanksgiving episode?
It's
Because
Turkey
you
Day.
make that noise occasionally.
It's Turkey Day. Happy Turkey Day, everybody. Gobble, gobble.
Sophie, say gobble gobble.
I
Can you
did.
slow my lap and say gobble gobble?
I did send her out to the kitchen to say gobble, gobble.
Un besito, Sophie.
Okay.
Un besito, super linda. That's my impression of you now. We had just started going back to meetings.
Oh boy, what time?
The first time, like 10 or 11.
No, I
it
mean,
was.
like, was this the 7 o'clock or the 7:30 meeting? What time was it?
You got me.
But what do you mean the first time we started going back to meetings? My earliest memories, we didn't celebrate holidays, but we didn't go to meetings.
That's right. I'm saying we actually started going back to
Okay.
meetings.
Mom started going first.
Right. But Dad, at a certain point, not too long after she started, at least would occasionally make appearances and be
Dude,
asleep the whole time.
I fucking hated going to meetings.
Oh, the putting on the suit was the worst
my
part.
God. Just thinking back to it.
It's terrible.
Especially
Always.
as a little kid.
Yeah, when you're getting fucked with all day at school anyway.
Right,
And
but-
then you go home and have to deal with that bullshit.
You have to dress up, and it's so fucking boring. When you're
Occasionally
like
you have to
six-
give talks.
When we were like 16, like it was a little more of a purpose. Like it was still boring, but you're going to see people, you know. Like this was like our parents weren't friends with anybody. We went in, we sat down, we were bored out of our mind for 2 hours, and we went home.
Yep. And this was one of those times. Except for Mom was sick, like she had the flu or something, and Dad took us to the meeting. And so it was just us three because Melissa wasn't born yet. And I had gotten sick halfway through, and Dad thought I was lying from what I remember. But then I wasn't lying. I think he was just like, oh, you're lying, but it's an excuse to get out of here early. Let's go.
I remember this story. Dude.
Okay, great.
But I will say, I'm almost positive it was just you and Dad who went to the meeting this night.
Okay, you don't matter in this particular story. You don't
I was
matter.
at home.
Well, the important thing was Mom was at home sick all day.
Right, breastfeeding me.
Breastfeeding you vomit, yes. So I was in the back of the car telling him I was sick. I remember he had the window rolled down for me and just like cursing me out probably because he was a tyrant at the time. and then I actually threw up like all over the back seat, like whatever Mom had, I probably had too. And then I'm telling this mostly for you, Alvin. I want you to put yourself in my mom's shoes in this situation. Have you even been listening?
I have not. I apologize.
Jesus Christ!
I don't need your take.
You're at home with like a stomach flu, vomiting over and over again. Your husband and you're Jackie. You're home. My dad and Nick. Her hair. My dad and Nick.
You're wearing her Born to Sleep night shirt.
Okay.
You're yelling at me,
hitting him on the head with a rolling pin.
Like she's at home with the stomach flu. Nick's got the same thing. He vomits all over
the back of the car. Okay, and it's just me, and my dad, in the car, and we're heading home anyway. So he gets there, and I go inside and just like pass out probably, and. He gets Mom out of bed, out of a sound sleep, and tells her that he rationalizes that she has to clean the car right now because he has to drive to work tomorrow, and she's already sick, so seeing vomit won't be that bad for her.
Yeah.
And she did it because...
So you know how...
There are reasons Mom's fucked up if you really think about it.
You know how when you're sick and you're vomiting... that therefore looking at gross things doesn't bother you at all, That's why it's okay for people to talk about like rotten lasagna when you're already vomiting all over the place. Like, no, that's the exact fucking wrong time to make her go do it. And it's like a stomach flu. My dad's not going to catch a stomach flu from looking at your vomit.
But she did it. She fucking did it. That's the most insane thing. And without much argument.
Because he was a scary fucking guy.
Yeah.
I would have punched him in his face and said, no, you go clean it.
You wouldn't have.
Yes, I would have.
No, you never knew Scary Dad. You never knew Scary
Dad.
That way.
Do
you believe these stories to be true? He's such a fucking softie now, right?
Yeah, he is a big softie.
He is an underhand pitch.
Yeah. When we talk about how he was bad and not my mom, does it make you go, all right, women's time? No. Bash a man for once.
No. You're not like that. I'm not angry at men. I love men a lot.
And then I started thinking about, remember how embarrassed Dad... I'm sure he's still this way, but he used to be, especially in front of us, so embarrassed by emotion all the time.
His own, or like showing emotion to him?
No, I'll tell you specifically what I'm talking about is whenever he was watching a movie, and we've touched on Dad's shitty taste in movies,
right?
And it hasn't improved any,
right?
He throws Doctor Who into the mix now, and I guess that makes him hip.
But what are we talking? We're talking like just like old, like any kind of set in space. No matter how low the budget. Well, like his television, I can't really think of shitty movies that he liked, but his television watching habits, if that helps any, at least back then, was like nonstop Xena Warrior Princess.
I used to like that show.
Hercules.
Yeah, but you were a girl.
No matter
like 15.
Yeah, and 15.
No matter what Star Trek incarnation there was then.
Don't you mean Star Trek?
And his movies were on the same level.
Yeah, and he literally did watch and enjoy like all the Jean-Claude Van Damme shit at the time. Yeah. And he moved with the action. We've talked about that before. But I'm talking about, like, usually it's something that we would be watching. This was in the later years, like when we were teenagers. And sometimes we'd think Dad would be really interested in something. Like, hey, you should check out The Usual Suspects. And then he would just comment on how terrible it was because he doesn't know anything.
I think it's the Gimp.
Oh, yeah, he did call that out ahead of time. Way ahead of time. But he was just guessing. He didn't base that on anything.
Yeah, and we told him one of these guys is him. All the rest start dying.
But no, it would be anything where there was like an intimate moment between... I don't even want to be that specific. It could be like buddies talking. But if it striked a certain note that Dad didn't like, then he would pretend like he wasn't watching it. And he would turn to one of us and be like, what is this that you guys are watching? And I'm like, why are you ruining this? And he couldn't even look at the screen.
Yeah. I don't really remember that at all.
Okay, well, I thought it was worth mentioning because
being a thing about him.
Yeah, I think Dad has fucked me up almost as much as Mom has. Like, I have a lot of Dad's weird things now. I'm not saying specifically that, although now that I'm finally watching The Wire, which I'm proud to say, I'm in the middle of season 3, and sometimes when I watch it and it's characters I'm not as interested in, like I don't really want to see what Stringer and Donette are up to in this particular scene. So I'll still have the audio on, but if I'm watching it through my computer, I'll be surfing the internet during that scene.
Yeah, sure. Everyone turns away for a while. I do it with The Sopranos.
But there's no reason for me to when I'm watching it on a 12-inch screen, and that's all that's going on in my room, you know?
Yeah.
With the big headphones, no less? Yeah. Usually I'm fully immersed.
That's such a
The Wire is an amazing show.
That's such a mundane thing to be like, I blame you for that, Dad.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. I have issues.
I meant that more lighthearted than it came out, apparently.
Chilling out. Take it slow.
Alvina, do you want to talk about my mom or why you hate me? I'm leaving it up to you.
I've got a lot to say on either subject, so I'm good.
Oh, man. PJ, I'm going to leave it up to you then. You're the tiebreaker.
No, man. How badly do you want to know why she hates you?
I don't know.
How badly do you want to hear her opinions on Mom?
I don't hate you, Nick. Don't be dumb.
I feel like it's a running theme on the show lately that you hate me a little bit every time I'm here. And it's not because you didn't make me a heaping portion of delicious eggs this morning, and I appreciate that. Thank you. See, I'm doing better now that I'm not looking at anybody. I'm glad we took that break.
Did you make him so many eggs because I eat eggs like an asshole?
Yes.
Well, I had no choice but to eat those eggs like an asshole. Put a little hot sauce on it because I imagine that's how PJ does it, right? Yeah.
Little hot sauce.
Little mayonnaise.
Ew.
Hot sardines.
Mayonnaise.
I've seen the way PJ eats eggs. It's disgusting.
By the way, we saw that Man vs. Food last night when he can't finish that omelet that I ate.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And he says you get a free T-shirt, but you don't. He just made that shit up.
Liar.
Nope. Yep. Anybody that wants to hear that story can go back to episode 35.
There you go.
No reason to go over it now. So so you don't hate me, so that's not even worth talking about.
No, I don't hate you.
Okay.
I heard Mom's in the hospital again.
Do you realize when you say things like that and we laugh, that people, because we give no exposition for why it is that's funny, people listen to that and think that they just missed something. And then they go back like 10 seconds
I just
and they're
want
like,
to know
nope, no joke there.
Why she's in the hospital again.
Okay, where to start with this then? We recorded an episode where we thought we had a lot to say about Mom that we never ended up releasing because it was too mean. So everybody be real nice on this one, okay?
Okay.
But a lot has happened since then, and because I didn't catalog all the crazy texts and phone calls and voicemails, emails, everything else that I've gotten because I don't want to fucking deal with it. Like, I'm just ignoring her now, but not because she's not dying.
Right.
Mom's dying.
Is she? Sorry, I was trying to find more Melissa spelling errors, which I found for later. When we get to it. Something about the hospital.
Yeah, Mom was in the hospital.
Did you say that we recorded an episode with Nico, or are we not going to talk about that?
No, I did reference it, yeah.
Oh, yeah. When we were going on and on about like how nuts her life was going and her sister living with her.
And how much crazier it was making both of them.
But we haven't posted it because everything changed, like, even after that. Like, it was
Maybe we should go over briefly what we did talk about, though, or post it as a bonus, like, whenever this one goes up.
Something like that.
We need to do something, because there's a lot of things that I don't know what's already been covered. But I know part of it was that Denise told Mom that all the answers she was looking for was in an episode of the show where we called her a bitch the whole time.
Right. And when I heard that, it pissed me off, and I had been ignoring Mom, and I sent her a series of text messages just saying everything that I felt needed to be said to her, and quit listening, and I'm changing my phone number, and blah, blah, blah.
Which you did.
And she called me cruel. And
she wants to know if she can have that number, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Is it cool that I gave that info out?
Yeah, so I know, but that's also something that hadn't happened during that episode, was me changing my number, because then our crazy aunt was sending me text messages.
Yeah, and I was getting crazy stuff from all of them, too. Yeah. And our cousin Devin.
Right.
That crazy aunt's daughter,
yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, she's pissed at us because we made fun of her mom on the show.
No, yeah, something like that. Or because, like, I had yelled at her mom. via a text message.
The text I got said from our cousin said, "Why do you have to drag my mom into your trash talking?"
Yeah.
Because Denise had gone around and said, "Listen to episode 67, everybody.
Right.
It'll solve everything."
Meanwhile, since all this has happened, Denise got kicked out of this house.
Yeah, which I still haven't heard the full story
Moved
of.
back to California, and then all of a sudden Devin's texting you talking shit about mom and texting mom about no wonder your kids hate you. I love their podcast, basically. Like, dude,
She's a Facebook fan now.
And I'm so addicted to drama that I changed my number so I wouldn't have to hear about any of it from anybody anymore.
Right, but you still have to hear about it from me because I'm not going to suffer
Right.
this alone. And I got to a couple points where I thought I was going to have to change my number too, and I still might. But yeah, so things had calmed down on the mom front, at least as far as I was concerned, for a little bit. Like, in terms of mom, that's like a week.
Right.
But a week feels like a year because thank God I'm not getting a phone call at 3 in the morning because she's drunk.
But it's not like nothing was going on in her life during this week. This is when she was like they were getting kicked out of their house and they were moving into a new apartment and all that stuff.
Right, their house, I assume, got taken away, and it was a big tearful goodbye for Chubbs, the dog, the disease-ridden
Ew.
dog. He's gone now, though,
Good.
because they can't have it at the new
Where'd they-
place. I know it's good for our little
Chubbs.
sister, for one.
It's good for the dog. What'd they do with them?
I don't know. Probably put him out to pasture. I have no idea.
Either way, he's doing better.
Yeah, no kidding.
Whether
Him and
he's
his
on the streets
gross
or
mucus eyes.
in the Humane Society.
I just want to be loved. Sorry that you're hideous and that
Yeah.
you've never been taken care of. Yeah, so Chubbs is gone, and it was like 2 days after they'd moved into this place, and I don't even know if they have a car anymore. I heard something about their car also. But all of a sudden, I get a call from Vincent, our stepdad, at like 10 o'clock one morning, and I didn't answer because it was from mom's phone, and I was like, fuck this. But there was a voicemail, so when I woke up, ultimately I listened to it, and he said, hey, your mom's in the hospital, or in the ER. She collapsed about 6 o'clock this morning. Give me a call back. And so I felt like I had to, although I talked to you and got a cup of coffee first, finished that cup of coffee, and then went back and got another one. Like, I stalled for like an hour, and I don't know why, just because I didn't want to deal with whatever the fuck. Because sadly, the first thing I think in that situation is whatever it is, she's faking it for attention.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Well,
Even now?
I mean, she goes into the ER, but she is definitely
Anybody can go into the ER.
yeah.
Any crazy person.
I mean, yeah, and that's the thing is she's crazy, but also her body's in terrible shape. So
True.
I'm sure she didn't need to go to the ER, but like I'm sure her collapsing was more theatrics than anything else.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Like she tripped and then Vincent says she collapsed. and
Right.
so
But I'm
went
not a
on from
doctor.
there.
Or she's just like, oh my god, my kids hate me so much, I'm going to collapse right
Right.
now.
And we've talked about her breakdown in the past that you blocked from your mind for several years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think what happened is more like she was like, I'm going to quit drinking because she like decided she was going to quit drinking, didn't have any
You're talking
money.
about most recently?
Right. Didn't have any money to buy alcohol anyway, and was just like, I'm going to go to the hospital, I'm having withdrawals.
Yeah.
Like, but
that only eventually came out, like that was part of it.
But I don't think she was having withdrawals. I think that
Here's the story I got from Vincent when I eventually called back was that she had apparently legitimate, although I never asked for documentation, that she had had a seizure of some kind. And Vincent, when he was telling me what the doctor says has caused it, started with depression, stress, insomnia.
And this is just a couple days after, like, Vincent is sending us text messages, pissed off at us, Mom and Denise.
Which we covered, and then we got to post that other episode as a
Yeah.
bonus. It's going to be weird for people to listen to this first, but whatever.
Yeah, we'll do it.
We're going to memento the shit out of this.
You get to hear Nick O not talk.
It's going to be fun for everybody. But when he first said stress, depression, insomnia, I thought he's just saying that first to make me feel guilty, because then
Right.
it turned out also to be like low blood sugar because she has a terrible diet. And then although he said nothing about alcohol playing any part, apparently she was What, texting Lori later, our aunt?
Saying she was withdrawing.
Yeah, she didn't mention that to any of me.
Lori asked her, right, babe, that she said withdrawing from what, and just never got an answer.
Yeah, she did, and then like a week later, she said that it was from alcohol.
Who cares, really? Basically, she's insane.
It's just she's pathetic,
and she's trying to dump off our sister onto anybody who will take her.
Right, which we'll get to. But before that, even this phone call. Okay, so the Vincent phone call. He tells me all this stuff. And then he's like, your sister wants to talk to you because Melissa was not at school because she was at mom's side at the hospital. And Melissa gets on the phone, and immediately the first thing she says, I go, hey, Liz. Hey, Nick. So I hear mom's doing okay. Yeah, she's okay. My bowling regionals are coming up on November 5th if you want to come.
Right.
Like, she had her agenda the second she got on the phone.
All this shit's just, like, always happening, and she's just looking for, like, one of us to come. And she hates missing school, too, because it's her way to get out of there.
Yeah. So I thought that was funny, and then I was like, okay, well, I gotta go. She's like, okay, mom wants to talk to you. And I knew that was gonna fucking happen. I'd been avoiding mom, like, completely ignoring her, which makes me think part of this is definitely an act, right?
Yeah.
Like, she's just looking to do something where I'll feel obligated to have to contact her. And sure enough, the second that I get on the phone, or she gets on the phone, Nick, just the fact that you called me lets me know that you love me. And she was crying and like all this crazy shit.
God.
Yeah. And so I was like, yes, of course I love you because I'm a fag. I know, PJ, sorry.
Yeah,
and then
I wouldn't say that to her.
No, I know you wouldn't, but you didn't talk to her at all. You knew this was going on.
Yeah, my number was changed at this point.
Yeah. And so she asks how you're doing, but she doesn't ask for your phone number, even though that's what she really wants to ask me. And I'm like, I don't know, I haven't talked to him, you know. I was just trying to get off the phone at this point now that I knew that she wasn't actually dead. Because at least then we got to think about Melissa, you know.
Yeah.
There's something. So she goes, oh, the things your brother said, again, the bonus episode, through text were just so hurtful, Nick. And I go, yeah, I don't know anything about it, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then she says, and he was also sending them to your aunt and niece, and he just started saying some bizarro things at the end of it. And do you think
bizarro and admittedly unclever things, no matter how clever I was?
Well, people will eventually know. But yeah, you were just off the deep end for the sake of being that. Like,
right.
Just fuck it, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
But she didn't see it as that, and so she jumps to, do you think he has a meth problem? And I go, no, I instantly, like, I don't even laugh at the preposterousness of it. I just think, why? Of course she thinks that. Like, where is her head at right now?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, him and his wife and daughter are all addicted to meth. Like, it's just the craziest thing for her to accuse you of. And I was like, I don't think he would mess with that shit with his own daughter. Okay, Mom, I gotta go, bye. But, like, she was just looking to start shit.
Yeah.
In her hospital bed.
Yeah.
Like, her ass probably hanging out of the gown. Let's think about that for a couple of minutes.
She's going to come fight me for custody of my daughter.
What if she does? Oh, God, we got to videotape that if it happens.
Yeah.
YouTube.
But yeah, so she's worried about the safety of my child. Meanwhile, she's just trying to dump her off so bad on Lori. Come take Melissa for a month.
Our little sister, yeah.
Wanted you to come live with her so you could take care of her.
Yeah, that's what it was, because after that phone call, I was like, okay, I'm done with this again for a little while. And then, so she was calling me constantly, leaving me tearful messages. I didn't call her back. And then I finally did... a day and a half after I got this message, I was just like, I got to see what's going on. But she kept leaving me messages all night and all the next morning.
You were saying there were like 8 a day.
Yeah, telling me, Nick, if I ever needed you to pick up the phone, it's right now. It's a family emergency. Meanwhile, I find out from you that this whole time that she's telling me that it's a family emergency and urgent that I call her back, she's Facebook friending your wife.
Yeah. During
and
the whole
she's
mess.
begging her Aunt Lori for money. Like,
Yeah.
the whole thing is fucking ridiculous.
Did she ask to borrow money? Can we get a confirmation on that?
From Lori?
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
Oh, okay.
Of course she did. But she told me it was a family emergency. So finally, after talking to you, like, at the bar probably that night, I was like, okay, I'm drunk enough to where I'll call her just to get to the end of this nonsense. And then the family emergency was that she was in a recovery state. She could not muster the energy to take Melissa to the bus stop for school in the mornings, which my first thought was, Melissa's 16, mentally disabled or no, I think she can fucking handle a walk to the bus stop.
Yeah, depending on where the bus stop is. But
I suppose, yeah.
I'm sure she was making it to the bus
And Melissa's
stop.
got a cell phone. She could give her some fucking pepper spray. Although Melissa's
She
too
would
pepper
get
and probably
into
trying to eat it.
She would get into the first stranger's car, man. Drive
No,
around
she
with a
wouldn't.
Miley Cyrus DVD. Tell me some pervert comes up with an iCarly hat. iCarly denim hat for Melissa. Melissa looks at it and says,
Some obvious free swag from
Right.
some piece of shit.
Melissa looks at it and says, that's never going to fit my head, but I can try. I'll stretch it out. She gets into that car. Fuck, you can pull up to her and say, hey,
Okay,
iCarly's
so-
in the trunk. Go
So
get
you're
in the
saying
trunk
Mom
with
has a
her."
point then?
Well, she could, yeah. She could.
Okay, well, her whole rationale was that she didn't have the energy because she's still recovering from her seizure to get Melissa to the bus stop. Therefore, I need to haul up and leave Seattle for 2 days to come to Tacoma. She says a couple of days, but who knows what she would try to have turned that into.
And really, all she wants is for you to get there so she can talk to you about everything. She just wants to talk and talk shit and tell you all about
She
what's
proved
going on
that the
with
first
Denise.
time when I called her in the hospital.
Yeah.
And it was all about your meth addiction.
Yeah.
Which, if that was a concern, is it a concern? I'm asking for Mom.
My meth addiction? No. It's wrong when they say that if you smoke it once in a while, you're addicted.
And it's safe. We cook it in the kitchen.
So I tell her no. I'm not going to take Melissa for a couple of days. First of all, I'm unemployed. I'm always broke. I hate to use that as an excuse for anything because it makes me seem awful, but it's true. And she was also, but her whole concern was Melissa needs to get to school.
Right.
Then I find out
So
that
some guy doesn't say, hey, there's a Jamie Lynn Spears concert in my parents' basement. And she goes right down.
yeah, but who wants to hit that?
I'll just say, different strokes, buddy.
But then, so I tell her, obviously I can't do it. There's no reason. And I kind of got in her face even in that phone call, as much as I could, being me. Like, if I were you, I'd have been a lot meaner. But I was like, you know what, I can't really deal with you and your craziness right now. And Denise, and she's like, oh, fuck her, she's kicked out. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll ask the details of that story, but then I decided not to.
Yeah.
Because I don't care that much. Like, obviously, Mom's crazy, Denise is crazy. That wasn't going to work forever. I'm sure Vincent's relieved as shit.
She was saying that, like, Denise is pissed because she can't understand why Mom wants to live an alcohol and smoke-free lifestyle, which I think means we're moving into an apartment. You drink and you smoke, so that's why you have to leave. Everything Mom says, I really
That would seem like a really
imagine the scenario.
that would seem like a really dumb stand on Denise's part. Like, how dare you try to,
Wow,
abstain from alcohol?
No. But that's looking at it from the point of view of if Mom said, hey, I hope you understand I'm trying to live a drug and alcohol-free lifestyle right now. What it probably was them screaming at each other, calling each other alcoholics. Fuck you, your kids don't even like you, bitch. Back and forth for a couple of days, and then Denise was gone.
Yeah.
That's how I see it going down. Because
And
that's
Devin
why
was
Devin
sending
sent me
hateful
text
yeah.
messages.
Her hateful niece Devin was sending her texts on her deathbed.
Meanwhile, why would Devin even text you? I haven't talked to her.
Well,
in-
because I went to the zoo.
right.
Episode 47, remember?
Well, I haven't seen her in like 10 years, and I would be more than happy to just never, ever correspond with her again.
Well, none of them are my Facebook friends anymore. I nipped that in the bud, man.
But they were, and they searched us out, like
that's true.
all this family, this distant family that wants to keep contact. I can't understand.
It's the podcast that made them so mad. Like, ultimately, that's what it comes down to as far as Denise and Devin go.
Yeah.
But it's their own fault. Like, it's none of their business when we expose all their business to America.
They
and
started,
beyond.
man. They inserted themselves in our lives to be talked about.
Yeah.
Denise is like, oh, you share too much personal shit on the internet. Don't you think I'm going to share this, or is that exactly what you want? You're getting it.
No,
Happy
she's not.
Thanksgiving, gobble, gobble.
She doesn't have a house, let alone the internet right now.
That's true.
She got kicked out of mom's
Good.
house.
Maybe they
Who
can't
gets
listen
kicked out of
anymore.
mom's house?
And you know what? When mom gets kicked out of her own house and now she's in an apartment, I bet she won't have internet for a while either.
Yeah, I hope not. I can't wait for the day. Although she's officially blocked. She can. Is there a way to block a podcast from people?
Oh man, I wish.
I'm sure that's on the horizon. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
What happened to that kid that was living with them too?
With who?
With your mom?
What kid?
That kid, that 4-year-old?
Oh, I think you're
What?
saying they like adopted some kid. Like
That's what I thought too. What are you talking about?
Denise's
No,
grandson?
Denise's
Oh
grandkid.
yeah, Peyton.
I think he
Was that his
eventually
name?
went home after like a year and a half.
I was there when he went home.
Yeah.
That was the zoo
That was
weekend.
Devin's kid.
Yeah, like who thinks that's okay?
And like I said, that's why mom doesn't understand we wouldn't leave Sophie at her house for a month and a half because Devin did. It's good enough for Devin's kid. Well, a lot of things are probably good enough for Devin's kid that aren't good enough for my kid. Do you know what I mean?
Your kid is a
Like,
princess.
it's
I agree.
different.
Yeah,
I really don't care what kind of house her great aunt great aunt, the grandmother's sister, lives in. I'm not going to dump her there for 6 weeks, even if it was a nice place, even if it wasn't disgusting like mom's house. Why am I attacking Devin now?
I don't know. Let's go back to mom. That apartment now that they live in, they don't have the dog anymore for one. So it's probably in good enough shape right now to where Melissa won't die of asbestos or whatever the fuck eventually ends up happening to her. It's going to be something
Breathing
dumb like
mold
that.
all day.
Or she's going to be like huffing bleach under the sink.
You think Melissa will?
I don't know. Like maybe she'll turn to that. Who knows?
Maybe. I don't know. She seems pretty innocent right
She
now.
sees iCarly in the bleach bottle. She's in, man.
Is she like just sticking herself in an age of like 11 years old and refuses to come out of it?
She comes out of it for brief periods of time. It's because, she just lives in a fucked up house, and then that's why, so Mom, let's go back to it. Mom, her original point was you need to come stay here so that Melissa can make it to school. When I said no, she moved immediately to our Aunt Lori and asked if she would take Melissa because she can't handle it. So obviously, the whole thing she told me was just a spin on something because she doesn't actually care if Melissa gets pulled out of school to come to Yakima for however long.
Yeah, at least a month.
Yeah, Mom would check herself back into the hospital or at least pretend to be until Lori did some investigating.
Right.
But it's ridiculous. And so, and then so Lori, of course, says no because she has every right to. And I guess they have a foster kid now or something.
I think they did, yeah.
Bitchy Mexican?
No, I was wrong about that. Was that... God, Alvina could not... She's watching Nick Jr. That's what she's
It's
watching.
fine. Alvina's not a guest anymore.
No, they didn't have a foster kid. I was wrong about that.
I'm not
We're
a
cutting
guest
all this
anymore.
out.
So then I'm ignoring Mom again. Lori blew her off, as she had every right to. Then Mom calls me... I'm trying to remember how it happened now. Like I said, I deleted all evidence of this from my phone because it made me so mad. But it came around to Mom getting a hold of me again and then telling me that I need to contact you and ask you to take Melissa.
Yeah.
As if that's rational, as if you haven't changed your number and she knows it's because of her. Or does she know? A part of her knows.
Yeah, she has to.
The whole thing is ridiculous. Like, she's just looking to unload any responsibility. And so finally at a
But
certain
the
point, I
whole
was like...
time, she is completely
Oh, she
unwilling
texted
to
me
call
that.
back.
I remember because I texted back after having talked to you, and you're like, obviously I can't do that. And so I texted her back and says, PJ can't do it. If you can't take this responsibility, then you need to, get off your high horse and call Dad.
Yeah, and Lori was
Dad,
telling her the
meanwhile,
same thing too.
Dad, who spends 8 hours a month with Melissa, no more, no less, knows all this is going on with Mom, and tries to... What was the conversation he had with Lori?
I don't know. What was
No,
dinner?
the fucked up one that you called me all drunk and pissed as shit about.
He said something about, I think it was an email or something like that. I don't know if Lori wants us putting this on the podcast.
It has nothing to do. I mean, it's nothing against Lori.
No, I know. Just that she had emailed Dad about the whole situation, and he said something about like he needs to find out if you and I are going to get involved and help out in this.
Just in so many words, like, well, maybe the boys will step up.
Maybe the boys can step up and help out because
that is not our responsibility.
He said because his wife was depressed and
Right.
Because of her brother dying, who she had made a point not to talk to because she hated him so much for the 10 years before he died.
Right, she hadn't talked to him plus he died quite a while ago.
Like, it was an excuse. What's her excuse
Right.
before he killed himself?
Basically what he's implying is, like, if this happened last year before anything like this had happened,
Of course we
like-
would take responsibility.
Right.
Of course
But-
we would step in.
so
Of
he's-
course I'd pay more than $300
Yeah.
a month child support
So
for my
he-
fucked up daughter.
He hopes that you and I'll step up to the plate, but he can't take her
He
in
knows
because
that we won't, though.
His wife's in a fragile emotional place.
Yeah, the way you phrased it to me drunkenly on the phone, I think to inspire some kind of response out of me. Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, I'm
but
sure
you,
it was accurate.
You said that he said, well, if you can't do it, Lori, talking to our Aunt Lori, like, if you can't take this responsibility, sister that has nothing to do with my life and my immediate family, if you can't do it, then Nick or PJ will have to.
Well, okay.
No, he was
First
drunk.
of all those
Yeah,
extra words
okay.
in the middle never happened. Sister
Yes,
of
that's
mine.
exactly how you phrased it, dude.
You believed that I was saying that's what Dad typed out in an email. You, dear sister of mine, who has no reason to do this, blah, 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 blah.
No, obviously
If you
I was
can't take
giving a
her-
little...
No, what he said was, if you can't take her, then we'll see something about, hopefully, maybe the boys can step up to it, because Debbie's brother died this last summer, and
Right,
she's
right, right.
really depressed, and we can't do it.
But...
Yes, that's what happened.
Yeah, that's what I said. Nick, added all those
I'm
extra
sure
words.
you said that when you were drunk.
You did, dude. You said it exactly as I said you said it.
You know,
If we're
I-
talking about the same night that he was drunk, he could have said anything.
Yeah. We must be, right? Because you...
I did
Yeah.
not say that Dad told Lori,
First of
you
all, we never-
sister of mine who owes me nothing. I never.
Well, that's not an important part of the
Okay,
story.
okay.
Nick is obviously elaborating, but he's saying that he said all
he's
this.
talking about what I said.
I know, but
Okay, it's getting way too specific now. Just know that you made it out to be what it is, which is that Dad's an asshole. Although when I I had these plans to work inventory with Dad, like at the place he works at. Like, he'd offered me a day's work because he knows I'm a bum now. And so I took him up on it, and on the ride there, that came up, this whole mom thing and what would happen with Melissa. And he told me that he would risk divorce. Like, all of a sudden he had a change of heart about it. But I'm sure he was just saying that because I wasn't getting, like, super in his face about it. But I was saying, like, it's clear that me or PJ can't do this. Like,
Yeah.
PJ's got his own life. I've got no life at all. Like, what can I bring to Melissa? And then he said, yeah, he would risk divorce from his wife in order to take Melissa in.
That would be interesting. That's when, like,
I don't
Mom-
believe him. I didn't believe him
I
when he
know,
said it.
But if Mom wasn't such a child, like when they do have to be in the same room together and they just pretend they can't even see each other, and she did
They
call
literally
Dad.
do. I've seen it at a bowling alley.
And she did call Dad and say, you need to take Melissa because I can't handle her right now. I would like for Dad to keep his word. Now, do you think he would? Because it would be great, because he shouldn't be married to that woman. He should not be married to her. So divorce would be a blessing. And since he's not a rageaholic anymore and he still has purpose in his life and it can't be from his wife, maybe he would get an apartment and, a 2-bedroom apartment and take in Melissa. I mean, I know none of this would ever happen, obviously. But that would
So
be
what
a
is
good
going to
thing.
happen?
Well,
Just
she'll
cut to the
she'll never
end.
call Dad.
Okay, no, I'm saying beyond that. Beyond not calling Dad.
Mom's gonna
Will
die. Mom's gonna die.
In what way? She's going to die
Or-
from alcohol poisoning at 52?
Either that, or when Melissa's 18, this is what's going to happen. Melissa's going to get 18, and Mom's going to release her into the state or into the system or whatever. She's going to sign her up for some assisted living thing, whatever.
Gone.
Look at all the mildly retarded adults out there. Like, and Melissa will be, either living in some weird apartment with some weird job like those, those people at those weird
You make
jobs
that sound
you see.
okay, and yet
Yeah, it's better than
when I even entertain the idea of like taking action before she turns 18, you're like, no, she'll just be spit out in the system, dude, and then nobody can keep track of her. If that's going to happen anyway,
I said that random people are going to get custody of her. Like, at least this way. Like, she's 17 this week, dude. Gobble gobble week. That's when she turned 17.
Turkey smells delicious, by the way, Alvina.
Thank you.
She's gonna, she'll have one more year where at least like we'll still be hearing from her, getting her misspelled text messages and stuff like that. Whereas like she goes live in a foster family, you have no idea who they are. They don't allow.
But we
cell
know who
phones.
mom is. Isn't that an issue also right now?
I know, but I'm just saying that at least when she's with mom, we still know where she is.
Yeah, we know where she is. We don't approve of where she is.
But in one more year, when she gets signed out into this assisted living thing, then she'll be fine. You see all the vacant-eyed older people
can you
working
see
at
Melissa,
McDonald's.
Though? Our little sister Melissa, can you see her applying herself? Like, I can't see her working a McDonald's-type job.
Dude, I Am Sam did Pizza Hut and Starbucks, and he was worse off than Melissa.
He was going to get a promotion. I think he did get a promotion.
And he had his own apartment, dude.
He can't even tie his own tie.
He fucked the lady. And
I know he did.
It.
I know he did.
Yeah.
A brilliant, precocious kid, as it turns out.
Melissa could totally do that. First of all, she's going to go work some 4-hour-a-day job somewhere, and then come home and watch TV nonstop. She's going to love it.
Yeah.
Unless she gets out of this act she's doing and applies herself, and she could be president.
I might vote for Melissa. All her name. She's not
The
going to get married.
Pierce Bowling Club. Hey, Nick, I got 2 strikes today in regionals. Listen to this MySpace comment she left for you. Dear Nick, guess what? I got 3rd place in the 50-meter walk. I also got 3rd place in the softball throw, and I also got a silver medal in the 100-meter walk.
Why do you have my MySpace?
Love you, your little sister Melissa. Hey Nick, do not forget that this Saturday is Aunt Lori, S birthday. Oh, tell PJ, period. The same thing, period. Liz, period. Hey Nick, do you have a job yet? Love, Liz.
Okay, is the episode over now?
Hey Nick, guess what? I hear there'll be a Weird Al ride on 3D at the Puyallup Fair this year. Love, Liz. Hey Nick, guess what? I think I heard that Weird Al will be at the Puyallup Fair again this year. Love, Liz. Hey Nick, guess what? I got 2 strikes when I was bowling last night with my team, and I have no school today, so I'm going to the fair today. Love, Liz.
What's the last time I cried on the show?